What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be ranking all of the NFL teams from the worst to the very best. And starting off at number 30 here, we have the Commanders Field, which is obviously the home of the Commanders. And if we look down here, we can see the capacity is 62,000 and it was opened in 1997. 62,000, that makes it one of the smallest stadiums in the NFL. And not only that, they barely ever sell out any games. But good news for Commanders fans, if you are a Commanders fan, you guys are having a new stadium in the next 5 years. So that's good news for you guys. Now that's 30. Let's move on to the second worst. Now at number 29, we have TIAA Bank Field. This stadium is actually kind of nice, but in comparison to a lot of the other stadiums in the NFL, like the NFL is the top tier league for making stadiums, in my opinion. It has this capacity of 67,800, which is higher than the Commanders. It was opened 2 years earlier than the Commanders. So it's not a horrible stadium, but in my opinion, they definitely need a new one because it just doesn't meet normal NFL stadium standards, in my opinion. Now at number 28, we have Paycor Stadium, the home of the Bengals. Once again, not a terrible stadium. 65,500 capacity, opened in 2000. It's not a terrible stadium in my opinion, but it just is a little bland actually. I think it just looks like a lot of the other stadiums we see in other leagues and even in the NFL as well. I think they should get a new stadium, make it a little more unique because it really looks like most other stadiums. Now, you guys might not like this one very much, but I put Caesars Superdome, the home of the Saints, in here, and 73,000 is the capacity. It was opened in 1975, so it is very, very old. It's like 40 something years old. 48, I think that would be. And it could just use an upgrade. Honestly, they haven't really renovated in a little while. It's not a terrible stadium, but no stadiums in the NFL really are. So this was a really tough list to make, but I do have Caesars Superdome, the home of the Saints, at number 27. Now at 26, we have Hard Rock Stadium, the home of the Dolphins, one of the more iconic stadiums, I think, on this entire list, and capacity of 65.3 thousand. It's getting a little old as well, and I don't know, they don't really sell out a lot of their games. It is a nice stadium though, it is, and it's really iconic, but I just don't think it matches the standards of a lot of the higher ones on this list. It's not a bad stadium though, so don't get triggered, Dolphins fans. It's a good stadium. It's iconic. Hard Rock Stadium is at 26. Next up at MetLife Stadium, the home of the Giants and the Jets, and that fact right there that two teams share it is what knocked this down so much. Because as you can see here, 82.5 thousand capacity, opened in 2010, so it's a newer stadium as well. Now, the reason that it's down here, you have to split between two teams, the Giants and the Jets, which is probably not very nice for those teams because they both play on Sunday most of the time, and they have to figure out who's going to get the stadium this week and stuff. So that must be extremely annoying. And then also, it's in New Jersey, but both of these teams are in New York City. So I just think since it's in New Jersey and two teams share it, it probably just takes away a lot from the atmosphere of being the home team and stuff like that. So that's why it's at 25. All right, next up at 24, we have Highmark Stadium, the home of the Bills. This is a nice stadium, okay? Um, Obviously, the Bills fans love it. They always go crazy in this stadium. 71.6 thousand capacity, opened in 1973 in the smaller town of Orchard Park outside of Buffalo. It's an older stadium, 1973. That would make it like 50, 51 years old now, which is kind of crazy. It's getting older. It definitely is going to need a new stadium, which the Bills have already purchased land, and they're going to make a new stadium in the next couple of years. But until then, they'll be stuck with this one, which honestly, I say they're stuck with it, but they love the stadium. It's a really nice stadium. Now, Soldier Field, home of the Bears, is up next at 23, and it has a capacity of 61,500, opened in 1924. That's what knocked it down a lot. Now, there's a difference between being iconically old and like historically awesome, like Lambeau Field, for example. That's a really old stadium, but that kind of just adds extra charm to it. But I feel like for Soldier Field, it's getting so old that it's like, is it really safe? And they need a new stadium. They do. I know they've been renovating it a little bit over the years. Obviously, it's not exactly what it was back in 1924, but I do still think they need a new stadium. A thing I do like about this stadium is it is in downtown, so it's not like in a town outside of the city. It is straight in the middle of the city, which I think adds some extra charm to it. So this stadium, right in the middle of the pack at 23, Soldier Field, the home of the Bears. Now another stadium in downtown, we have Bank of America Stadium, the home of the Carolina Panthers. Now, I'm sure you guys aren't going to like that I put this one ahead of the Bears Stadium. It was a tough pick, but I did decide to pick this one. If we go down here, we can see capacity is a little higher, and it's a lot newer of a stadium, 70 years newer, actually. Downtown, it's a pretty nice stadium. I think they might be getting a new stadium soon, but honestly, I think they should be very content with what they have right now. If only they could sell out this stadium, because their team is pretty much the worst in the NFL. But if they had a good team here, this stadium would be packed and it would be a lot higher up on the list. But since they're the worst team in the NFL, they are at 22. Now, the Patriots have one of the biggest fan bases in the NFL, so I know you guys are kind of going to come at me in the comment section. But I put Gillette Stadium at number 21 on this list. Capacity, 65,878. Opened in 2002, so it's relatively newer, I guess. 22 years old, I guess, kind of newer. I don't know. I just don't love it. It looks like any other stadium, really. And a lot of the stadiums above this one, we're going into the top 20 now. So all the stadiums above this one are just going to have a little extra to it. It's just a little bland, in my opinion. Now, number 20. We're in the top 20 now. We have Cleveland Browns Stadium. Actually, I think it's called First Energy Stadium. I'm not sure why this website called it that. But First Energy Stadium, the home of the Cleveland Browns, is at number 20, and the capacity, 67.4K, opened in 1999. Now, I don't really have anything bad to say about this stadium. It's a nice stadium. It's a good stadium. The fans usually show up pretty well with the dog pound and all that. So it's just right in the middle of the pack. It's not a bad stadium, but it's not an epic stadium like some of the ones we're going to see are going to be. Now, number 19, a stadium I really like, Raymond James Stadium, the home of the Buccaneers. I really like the pirate ship, the cannons. It's a really cool stadium, in my opinion. Capacity 75K and opened in 1998, so it's a larger stadium as well. I have no complaints about this stadium. I think it's really cool. Pirate ship is a cool addition with the cannons and stuff. It's a really nice stadium. That's why it is at 19. Now at 18, we have Nissan Stadium, the home of the Titans. Not a bad stadium. Once again, we're in the middle of the pack right now, so all of these are just going to be solid stadiums. None of them are going to be amazing yet, and none of them are going to be terrible. So this is middle of the pack, 69.1K, opened in 1999. So I guess it's not too old, but it's not too new. A lot of these stadiums are just in the middle of the pack. They're not amazing, but they're not terrible. So Nissan Stadium at 18. Now at number 17, we have State Farm Stadium, the home of the Cardinals. A really nice stadium. 63.4K makes it one of the smallest stadiums in the NFL, but it is a newer stadium, opened in 2006. Yeah, it's a nice stadium with the roof and all, makes it really cool. It's a smaller stadium, but honestly, it doesn't look super small. But it is 63K still. Yeah, I don't know. It's another middle of the pack stadium. It's a decent stadium, though. I would put it maybe on the better end instead of the worst of the middle of the pack. So that's why it is at 17, right in the middle. Next up, we have NRG Stadium, the home of the Texans. This is a larger stadium, 72.2K. Opened in 2002, makes it 22 years old. NRG Stadium. All right, here we go. It's just a lot of these stadiums. This is probably going to be the most boring part of the video because all of these stadiums, none of them are amazing, none of them are terrible. Middle of the pack, 16, NRG Stadium, the home of the Texans. Alright, now I know a lot of you Eagles fans are going to come at me in the comments. They have one of the larger fan bases again. Lincoln Financial Field, home of the Eagles. I've been to this stadium before. I have, actually. I'm not an Eagles fan, I'm a Steelers fan. But I am a little closer to Philly than I am to Pittsburgh. It has a capacity of 67.5K, opened in 2003. From having a first-hand experience of the stadium, I'm going to say I think the fans make it a lot better of a stadium. But if you took the fans out of it, honestly, it's not that crazy of a stadium. I think the fans just make it seem like it's so much more amazing because the fans just go crazy and they have some of the most diehard fans in the NFL. Honestly, they get pretty annoying after a little while. But Lincoln Financial Field at number 15, right in the middle of the pack. Maybe a little, not quite in the middle, a little on the better side. Now at 14, we have Ford Field, the home of the Lions. A pretty nice stadium. 65K, opened in 2002. It seems like a lot of these stadiums were built in 2002. We've had at least 3 or 4 of them so far. Ford Field, though, really interesting stadium. It's not like all the other ones. It has a roof on it, but some of the other ones do as well. But if you look at the outside, it's all brick, which is really interesting, and it's kind of downtown Detroit as well. So this is a really interesting stadium. No, never mind. We have not gone by this one before. We've gone by the Indianapolis Stadium, which honestly looks really similar to this one. But Ford Field, number 14. Now at number 13, we have Levi Stadium, the home of the 49ers. 68.5K, and it's one of the newest stadiums in the NFL. Opened in 2014, only 10 years ago. It's a nice stadium, all right? It is a very nice stadium. I was thinking about putting it maybe top 10, but there were just too many great stadiums ahead of it. But let it be known, I do really like this stadium. It is very, very good. One of the most successful franchises in the NFL as well. I think they have 5 Super Bowls, which would be, I think that would put them in 3rd place behind the Steelers and Patriots. So, San Francisco 49ers, very solid stadium. I have Levi Stadium at 13. All right, Lucas Oil Stadium, the home of the Colts. Really cool stadium. I have been to this one as well. 70,000 capacity, opened in 2008, so it's relatively newer. Really cool stadium. The crowd is really nice. It feels like more of a compact stadium, more huddled together instead of spread out. And it's very large as well. 70,000 capacity. It's one of the larger stadiums in the NFL. Lucas Oil Stadium, very fun place to go. I would really advise doing it. That's why it is at number 12. M&T Bank Stadium, home of the Ravens. Yeah, a very solid stadium here. Number 11. One of the larger ones as well. 71,008. Opened in 98. It's a really good stadium. It is very, very nice. I've drove by this one before. It's pretty cool. Number 11. So we're almost in the top 10 now. M&T Bank Stadium had just missed out on the top 10, but still, very, very nice stadium. All right, now we have my stadium. I'm a Steelers fan. I could have put this one higher probably, but I didn't want it to seem super biased. Acrisure Stadium at number 10, the home of the Pittsburgh Steelers. 68,400 capacity, opened in 2001. I'm a Steelers fan, so I've seen games here before. It's really fun. The fans are amazing. When they play Renegade, the whole crowd goes crazy. The whole experience is awesome, actually. One of my favorite stadiums to go to. 10. Why didn't I put it higher than 10? Honestly, I don't know. I feel like some of the other stadiums are just a little bit more iconic. Maybe if it was still named Heinz Field, it would be a little cooler with the ketchup bottles and stuff. I never got to see a game when it was called Heinz Field. I went the year that it turned to Acrisure Stadium, so I'm a little disappointed about that one. But Acrisure Stadium, still top 10. Very nice stadium. All right, now at number 9, we have Empower Field, the home of the Broncos at Mile High. 76,125, making it one of the largest stadiums in the NFL. Opened in 2001, the largest we've had on this list so far, but I know it's going to get larger in the final 8. Here we go, though. Super big stadium, 76,000, and it's in Denver, the Mile High City. So the wind, oh my goodness, it's so high up, it's kind of crazy. Broncos Stadium, Empower Field, really like the stadium. It is at number 9. All right, number 8, we have Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which looks incredible. 71,000, opened only 7 years ago, back in 2017. Look at this stadium. It is incredible. Look at this whole Jumbotron going around. Open up the roof. It's super cool. Really interesting, unique stadium. Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the home of the Falcons, gets number 8. Okay, Allegiant Stadium, one of the newest stadiums in the NFL. Maybe the newest, actually. I actually think it is the newest. There's going to be some newer ones coming out in the next couple of years, but capacity 65K, so right in the middle of the pack capacity wise. Opened 2020. I remember when this was being built, not that long ago. Honestly, it did not feel like 4 years ago. It feels like it was like last year. Time has been flying recently. 2020 to 2024 was like a blur in my opinion. What makes the stadium cool? The open roof concept is really cool. The burning flame, super cool idea there. The flame never goes out. Yeah, it's just brand new stadium, so that gives it extra points, I guess. Um, yeah, it's a really nice stadium, brand spanking new, so it's really cool. All right, now we have probably the most iconic stadium in the NFL. Even if you're not a football fan, you should know about Lambeau Field. Lambeau Field, 81,441 people in this gigantic bowl. It's amazing. Opened in 1957. This is on my bucket list to go to the stadium. Hopefully, I mean, it's probably running out of time, so if I want to go to the stadium, I'm going to have to go to it soon. But honestly, it's probably going to have to get torn down maybe in 10, 15 years. It's, how old is it? It's 70 years old now. Hopefully it can stay around as long as possible, but honestly, it comes a time when you have to say goodbye to it. But hopefully that's nowhere near where we're at right now. Lambeau Field, though, right now, huge stadium, 81.4K. It's awesome. The fans are amazing. That is why it is at number 6. All right, another of the larger stadiums in the NFL, we have Jihad Stadium at Arrowhead. Awesome stadium. I also want to go to this one. Oh my goodness, Jihad Field, Arrowhead Stadium. Everyone knows Arrowhead. Opened in 1972. The fans make it amazing. This is a top 5 stadium for sure, in my opinion. All right, Lumen Field at number 4, the home of the Seahawks. This is a really cool stadium. One of my favorite parts about it is this. I think they call it the Eagle's Nest over here. Yeah, the Hawk's Nest is what it says right there. That would make more sense actually. Hawk's Nest. That's a really cool feature. The big swoop roof. I really love that. 67K. So it's not as big as some of the other ones we've been seeing in the top 10 here. Opened in 2002, so it's relatively new. Lumen Field, though, I've always liked this design. It's super cool. Lumen Field at number 4. I would definitely want to go to this stadium as well. All right, we have another stadium over 80K. It's actually at 80K exactly. Opened in 2009. Huge stadium. Huge stadium. Amazing fans. I'm pretty sure they have the biggest fan base in the NFL. They call themselves America's team, but let's be for real, the Steelers are America's team. We travel the best. We have the most fans in different parts of the country. Like, you could go to California and you'd see more Steelers fans than you would Chargers fans. That's how well they travel. They just scattered across the country, and they're everywhere. So AT&T Stadium, though, you got to respect the Cowboys. I hate the Cowboys, obviously, as a Steelers fan. But you got to respect them. They have a very nice stadium. Their fans are just a little annoying. SoFi Stadium, the brand spanking new stadium, also opened in 2020. One of two stadiums that were opened in 2020. The other one was Allegiant Stadium, which is also a very nice stadium that we looked at earlier. This has a capacity of 70K. It's home of the Chargers and the Rams, but mainly the Rams because Chargers fans do not show up to anything. But one of my favorite things about this, the open ceiling, the open roof, I should say. The Jumbotron is awesome. It's huge. How big was it again? 70K, yeah. It's pretty big. If you look, I know that this picture doesn't show the outside, but the outside is very cool. The roof, the pillars, everything about it is very awesome. And now we are at number 1. So I'm going to scroll up slowly. Ignore the ads. I had to get rid of my ad blocker in order to go on this website. Okay. Yes. This is the best stadium in the NFL. And you might be thinking, how on planet Earth is this the best stadium in the NFL when we just saw Lambeau Field, Allegiant Stadium, Arrowhead, all those different ones, SoFi Stadium, the brand new one. Well, the old US Bank Stadium, it fell down a while ago. We all know that. And they came back and made an absolute masterpiece. Look at this roof. Look at the fans. Look at the windows. It's awesome. This is a great stadium. I don't care what you say. Oh my goodness. 66,000, opened in 2016. It's a newer stadium. My goal one day is to make it to every single NFL stadium. But that's it. I'll see